Hi again then guys, and welcome to another brief review from the world of DRIVECLUB once again, and this vehicle is one which I kind of tangentially discussed recently in the world of Gran Turismo Sport, but not the Speciale version, which is why I said it was tangential. I was discussing how much I love driving the Ferrari 458 Italia in Gran Turismo Sport, which was unusual for me because I'm not usually a fan of the car. For me, this, and also even more so the 488 GTB, in DRIVECLUB are kind of that equivalent. Because once again, I'm not a huge fan of the 458 Speciale or the 488, and yet in this game I love the way they're presented, because with certain cars in certain racing games, and I'm sure you guys have noticed this as well, the developers of the game, especially when it comes to graphics and sound and physics, seem to put more effort into certain vehicles than others, almost like they love them more. And this one clearly has a lot of care and attention put into it. The graphics are fantastic, the textures and colour in DRIVECLUB hold up insanely well, even though a number of years have passed, and I would actually say that DRIVECLUB might actually have my favourite graphics of any racing game, including Gran Turismo Sport and anything that Forza has to offer. So a pretty bold statement, but of course that's my personal preference. Now, as far as what this car offers, of course the 458 is already very good, but alongside stuff like the Huracan, the Porsche 911, various others, it's more of a super sport exotic rather than a traditional supercar. Many people refer to it, of course, as a supercar, and for good reason, but it's not exactly on the same tier as, for instance, the mid-2000s idea of a supercar. SLRs, Carrera GTs, Zondas, they are still thought of as being a tier above stuff like this. But something that I've always maintained is that these more almost mid-level supercars, such as the Gallardo, the 458, even something like an F430, they have a big advantage over the big dogs like the Murcielago, the MC12, the SLR, etc. And that is that although they don't have the sheer straight line grunt more often than not, they are more compact, lighter, and more nimble. And that makes a huge difference around the track. To the point where, in fact, in the real world, this 458 Speciale is faster around Ferrari's Fiorano test track than a 599 GTO is. That's a pretty significant advantage, half a second quicker. Now, compared to a normal 458, you're looking at about 40 horsepower more, just under 600 in other words, and the weight, even more significantly, is almost a full 100 kilos less. That is a massive difference for a street car, and you can definitely feel it. Now, of course, the whole idea is that this is the more hardcore variant, like the Superleggera was for the Gallardo, like the Performante is for the Huracan, and like stuff like the GT2 or GT3 RS is, etc. for Porsche and various others too. So of course it has that hardcore edge, but one of the things that this car has in the real world, and you can kind of feel it in the game as well, but partially due to the fact that the physics of DRIVECLUB are fairly forgiving, is that the car has very advanced electronic systems which help drivers who are both skilled and newer to driving cars of this level to get more out of it. So the car kind of does some of the work for you, but in a way that still is fully engaging. It's not like a Nissan GTR or an Audi R8 where it's a little bit soulless, it still has that Italian flair. So if you do get the chance to hop on DRIVECLUB and get into something like this, I think you can have a ton of fun with it. It's got 600 horsepower, it's lighter than the normal one, and it's quick. But of course, if you want to check out my other reviews from DRIVECLUB, you can click here on screen, and we have done tons of them already, and of course stick around on the channel for more to come. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.